dig it? Can you dig it?
Ladies, gentlemen, friends, foes, lurkers, regulars, GMO people, organic people.
Boiler room. Inbound. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Boiler Room. We are live streaming tonight out of Alternate Current Radio Studios here in Central Texas. Out to you out there at YouTube, Rumble, and X.coms, respectively. Thanks for joining us for this live broadcast. It is lovely to see some of our friends in the various chat rooms already piling in there. We got Brent, we got Joey, we got Denver, we got Eileen, we got Silvertail, we got Chloe, aka I think I may have already said you. Hello, great to see you. Yeah, good to see everybody out there in the chat rooms. Thanks for joining us for this live broadcast. It is June the 19th. Does that mean it's Juneteenth or I don't know? I'm still confused about that one myself. But anyways, 2025. Here we are. We find ourselves, peaceful, mostly peaceful. You can see the mostly peaceful background behind me and the mostly peaceful warriors for international global peace there behind me. No, actually they are engulfed in flames, and we've got potential mushroom clouds. You can see those behind me as well. So that's where we find ourselves this week. Isn't that interesting? Who'da thunk it? But here we are. Let's go ahead and say hi to some of my friends and my colleagues here in the Social Rejects Club. Let's welcome Mystical Pharaoh to the Boiler Room. Mystical Pharaoh, what's up, man? Welcome to the Boiler Room.
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm good, man. It's great to be here with you. The Doom Scroll, the infinite Doom Scroll, is something I'm just peeking in at like several times a day at this point. I mean, I could literally be on it all day long with the rate at which insane headlines and video clips are falling out of it, man.
It's almost part of the having Trump reality TV show, right?
Yeah,
Because he want to keep you on the edge,
I know.
24/7 attached to your phone, like see what his next crazy move is.
Remember the good old days when we were just waiting for the next episode of The Apprentice to come out, and that was like, a week away, and you had 6 days to not think about Donald Trump, and now it's just like, every 10 seconds, every 10 minutes at most.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And the rhetoric is getting really crazy by the day, so I'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, the amount of persons invested in identity politics that were, are sort of recently invested in identity politics seems to have climbed to a new threshold. It's really interesting. Tonight Spore and I were out in town, and we were sitting near a table of like, I don't know, probably a very normie table. I'll put it that way. These guys just finished golfing probably, and they were talking about their perspective as Texans after watching Tucker Carlson talk to Ted Cruz, which came out this morning. And none of them, not a single one of them was like, yeah, I'm with Ted Cruz. They were all just like, and this is a guy I would wager, after listening to these, eavesdropping on these guys and listening to them talk, I would wager every single one of them voted for him. And I can't blame them, because what's your alternative? Like Beto or something like that? Hell yeah, we're going to take your AR-15. You know what I mean? It's just like everybody had to vote for this guy. And now people are like, oh my God, like that was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's I don't know what to tell you, man. It's interesting time for sure.
Yeah, that much we can say, right?
Yeah, I can save some of that when we get into the show, but
Yeah.
we're gonna have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. All right. Well, it's great to have you here with us tonight. That's Mystical
Thank you.
Pharaoh, everybody, and we're gonna welcome the Ruckus among us right now. Ruckus, what's up, man? Welcome to the Boiler Room. How you doing?
I don't know. Mystical Pharaoh is threatening me with a good time, and Trump is threatening me with World War III, which means that the good time isn't going to last very long, especially if we have a lot to talk about. So here I am eating up all the precious seconds by rambling on. Thanks for having me. Let's get into it.
Yeah, great to have you with us tonight, man. Yeah, whose good time are we gonna have? What kind of good time is this gonna be? My goodness, is this like John McCain's vision of a good time, or most Americans' vision of a good time? I
If
don't
it's
know.
Lindsey Graham's vision of a good time, that could get sloppy and messy and dangerous.
Yeah.
Slippery when wet the floor.
Isn't it funny, like how Ted Cruz was trying to use John McCain and Lindsey Graham, say like to put that two types of people, the extreme like neocons, right, and then you have the isolationist, right, which is
Yeah.
like
They're
now
building a
people that don't
dialectic there. I
taste
noticed
that
that today,
actually
right?
voted for Trump to be in office.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can go start wars, right?
Right.
And then there is the people that think that both of them are wrong, right? And actually that's the definition of the America first, which is if we have to create a war to just defend the American interest, we'll create a war.
Right. So like now if you oppose this in a soft way, you're an isolationist according to the Ted Cruz and that ilk. And if you downright criticize the government, the political Zionist government of Israel, and their control over the American political machinery, then you're anti-Semitic, right? Like there's nowhere in between. That they're doing that thing which they do quite often, where they leave us like an ideological dialectic, and you have to fall in one or the other, or if you're fringe on one or the other, then you kind of just don't matter.
I think it's all about just rebranding right now. It's like we kicked off the Democrats because they played identity politics. Now we're playing identity politics
with their
right?
tactics.
Even worse. Exactly, right? Everybody now is an anti-Semite, right? That criticizes Israel. You cannot even ask that, like, why you're supporting them, right? And then we're rebranding the definition of war, right? What is the definition of America first? And even Trump himself is rebranding this right now. So America first is what I think it is. It's not what you voted me for. It is what I think it is, right? Which is what I'm gonna make tomorrow to be.
So let me get this straight. So he's saying we voted him in because we will accept whatever he thinks America first is, rather than whatever his base thinks America first is. Do I have that right?
Well, he's saying that he invented America first.
Oh, so he can change it or tweak it.
He actually trademark America first.
So it's a branding thing.
That is exactly. So now he's the only one that truly knows what America first is. And if you don't agree with him, then you're not an America first.
And you get shadow banned on X.
Well, you get shunted. You basically be called names and you just put on the side.
Okay, you get shadow banned and or brigaded by bots and sycophants.
Yeah.
Should one person, let alone that one person being Donald Joseph Trump, is it Joseph? Donald J. Trump? Should they be in control of what it means to be America first? That makes no effing sense. I guess I could understand him trying to trademark the MAGA thing because he puts it all over his merchandise,
Merchandising.
But we know, Hesher, because, a friend and colleague of ours from TNT, MAGA's been around since before Trump entered politics, seriously, at least running for president is concerned. So, so Make America Great Again. He probably stole that from other people. He thinks he's a genius.
What's the story there?
Oh, yeah, the MAGA Institute, Timothy Shea. Look up when they started doing that and using that term. It was way before you ever heard Trump use it, or it was in the mainstream, or any other
I didn't
politician
know
that I'm
that.
aware of. Yeah, it was like their own, him and his partner, I forgot her name already, but they would like separate, like advise, they would put the potential candidates for political offices through a rigorous set of stringent like qualifications in order to be qualified as somebody who's going to sincerely be MAGA and make America great again. So I don't know. Perhaps that system was flawed if Trump passed with flying colors. But as we now know, he can just change the definition of those qualifications, which means he is now disqualified. Just ask Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has definitely got like a high score up there for the MAGA stuff. She's like the queen MAGA, and she is now splitting with Trump. We got Trump calling Tucker Carlson a kook. So we're just, what is he doing? He's not helping. He's not helping gain voters for the next time he wants to be president. Oh, wait, never mind. I guess he doesn't really care about that now, does he?
Well, this is exactly what we've been talking about for weeks now. We're seeing policy behavior and social media behavior that go out and clearly have the effect of fracturing and polarizing the the MAGA base, if such a thing exists at this point. And maybe it doesn't. It might. At this point, it's not looking good. And it's like, this administration could have these policy differences or influences or whatever, however we want to classify what's going on, and not make it such a public blow up, right? Like not have Ted Cruz going on Tucker Carlson, and like there's a lot of things that could be avoided that we're still seeing right now. What's up, Baze? Welcome to the boiler room, man.
Yo, what's up, guys? Glad to drop
hey.
in. Shouts out to the
Welcome.
gang out there. Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah,
How do we
great
know
to
you're
have
not
you
a
with
synth?
us.
Anyway.
Yeah, so we just busted right into it tonight, man. Since you just got here, maybe some of the viewers just tuned in as well. Thanks for joining us, and we're here in the boiler room, broadcasting live from Alternate Current Radio on X, YouTube, and Rumble tonight. And we're here because of the Doom Scroll. We're here because the Doom Scroll compels us. The power of the Doom Scroll compels you to get on the microphone and see if we can't make some sense, or at least learn how to defend ourselves a little bit from disgusting dialectics that are being presented to us on a silver platter with not enough nuance in there and no room for the public to have any sort of say outside of power politics. So that's what we're hoping to accomplish tonight, at least to whatever extent that we can. And Based, it's wonderful to have you here with us. So we're kind of we even leapfrogged the icebreaker tonight. We're just gonna get right into it. Spore says hi to everybody, by the way, and she'll be back with us soon. But we just wanted to jump right in tonight because we want to make the best use of the time that we have. So one thing that's come up already since we kicked off Based is this whole strange conversation between Tucker Carlson and Teddy Cruz. Did you happen to catch any of those clips? Because if not,
Yeah,
I
man.
have some.
Yeah, I did. And in fact, I just recorded a podcast on John Hears' channel, Heavy Things Lightly. John Hears is the fella who did the interview with Tucker Carlson about when Tucker Carlson was attacked by demons in his bed a few months ago. That's part of John Hears' movie. And he was giving me some the term is inside baseball, I guess. That's what everybody says now. Inside baseball on some of the things that happened in the interview. And also we were talking about Ted Cruz and that interview. And yeah, it is crazy. It's insane. It's all of us, are old enough. A lot of people who watch our various things have not been around as long, I guess, and are not old enough to remember the rhetoric around the Big 9 event and, everything really in a repeat cycle since then. But to me, I'll just say that it's been astounding to me. It's been astounding. The rhetoric, the narrative that's pushed, because in a lot of ways, I think it is worse than it was after Big 9, as far as just the all-encompassing propaganda that's gone on around this stuff. And I'm glad that Tucker sort of brought Ted Cruz, put his feet to the fire, and asked him some of the questions that he did. But it's pretty wild, pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was first thing I saw when I got up this morning was all the clips from that, and it was just like, oh my goodness. Yes. Great meme there. What is the population of the Death Star? Tucker Carlson to Luke Skywalker. You gotta love that.
Did you say he was attacked in bed? Is that right?
Yeah, it was in Tucker Carlson talked about how he had a demonic attack in his bedroom. I'm sure you guys, a lot of people have seen this. It was a few months ago.
I know this quite well, actually. I have the when he tells the story, and I've listened to it a few times. I'm like, dude, I know exactly how that dude got scratched up. It's his damn dogs, because he was saying he was sleeping with his dogs and all this stuff. And I guarantee, because some dogs, when they're dreaming and they're kicking and they're sleeping, his dogs scratched him, and he thought a demon attacked him in his sleep. The guy's, he is a kook.
Well, it might be the case. I tend to believe the gist of what he's saying about that. And of course, he did start off the story by talking about he was in a bed with his 3 dogs. So that doesn't help. But I will say that I do believe him. I do believe him when he talks about that. I've experienced, I won't get into it, but there's something in that realm, not with 5 dogs in the bed, but I think that it speaks to certainly what, if anything's true, we are in a state of spiritual warfare. And I think that is highly apparent, especially of where we are now. But yeah, it was a big clip. It was a big clip from a few months ago. Yeah.
I think you're muted, Hesher.
So yeah, it was. I'll put it on the show page for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. But yeah, so we got all kind of clips from that. What else is going on? I mean, essentially, they're having a discussion about potential American involvement in the current Israel-Iran war that's going on. I'm still having a hard time accepting that and saying it that way. You know what I mean? Like, there's part of me that still wants to be like, this can stop. Maybe it'll just go away. But it is not going away. It is officially a war. And Senator Cruz, there were a couple things that were said in there that was just like, wait, what? Like, hold on, wait, can you, and I will say Tucker did a decent job of like interrupting him when he was trying to spit, crazy rhymes. So that was good, and it ended up getting a little contentious in certain spots, but I don't know. And then of course the super black pill segment of the internet is saying it's all staged, it's all theater, and I'll leave room for that, but I'm not going to jump to that conclusion at this point.
They're both high-level Freemasons. They go to the same lodge together.
They both wear the red bracelet, and they're both
Ted Cruz has got the ring. He's definitely got the ring.
And Tucker's dad worked for the CIA, so we have to, of course, jump to the bottom of the barrel conclusions.
And these two things have both been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. Absolutely.
Yeah.
By the way, Ted Cruz has been acting quite childish with all of it, with the memeing and the everything and the social media. He pulled up an old comment or an article from the Atlantic with Tucker Carlson saying Iran absolutely must be destroyed from like 2012 or some shit, or 2020.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah.
But Tucker has talked about the mistakes that he made and about how he was pro Big 9 invasion at the time, and how a lot of these things have changed. I think that Ted Cruz is some sort of shameless Jabba character. He's like it's unbelievable in this interview. And the only funny thing that I've ever seen Ted Cruz do, and this was funny, was when he posted Happy Halloween with the Zodiac cipher.
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you remember that? That was actually funny.
Yeah.
But, yeah, nice try though, trying to keep up with the memes on this one. He must have some pretty good Zoomers working for him doing his PR or something, because I mean the interview itself is just
right. And for anyone who doesn't know why that might be funny, it's because of the Dallas Goldbug style trend of saying someone is someone else. So of course Alex Jones is, the comedian that passed away a long time ago. And Ted Cruz is the Zodiac killer, and he has seen, and they're like me. It's like half, 3/4 of the way funny meme warfare stuff, basically. But he does have a similar look to him, but of course, so anyway, he caught on to that.
It's kind of funny how Hillary Clinton and Huma Abbott have not come out and done something about oh, never mind. I'm not going to go there.
Don't get frazzly on us.
Yeah, Wilson. The volleyball from...
Don't get us frazzled over here, man. Yeah. Bill Hicks. Thanks, Brent. I don't know why I blanked on his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where do we begin, guys? I mean, we kind of set the stage here for what we're dealing with this week. Of course, there's a lot of Palantir information going on. I've mentioned that in the last several shows here since it started exploding on the internet, and give a big shout out to Maddie over at the Digital Minefield YouTube channel. Head on over there and subscribe to that one, please. We had an extensive, very extensive talk on Palantir on Tuesday night here on YouTube on the Digital Minefield channel. Myself, Daniel, and Maddie had a really interesting conversation, and we played a lot of clips of Alec Karp, the CEO of Palantir. Mystical Pharaoh brought a clip tonight also, so we can get into that if you guys want. I have all those clips at hand pretty much, but
yeah, why not? I mean, it's really one of the biggest thing that Trump administration is doing, right? That I think one day we're gonna wake up and like, oh shit, right? He's installing Palantir everywhere.
Yeah.
And we know they put vents in there, right? They had their hand throughout that administration, and I think I think it's worth talking about.
They were, another thing that's happened since we were here last that we could talk about is the military parade, the Army birthday parade. That was sponsored, brought to you by Palantir.
Brought to you by Palantir. Yeah. Yeah.
That was pathetic.
And check this out. Another one of the big sponsors of that, by the way, this flew under the radar, was Coinbase.
Really?
Yes, true story.
Yeah, I've got a list.
But speaking of Palantir, by the way, in case you don't know, because I was just looking into this today and I was like, holy shit, and I posted it on my X. But Palantir is up 444% its stock in a year. That's 5 times its original amount a year ago.
Yeah.
That's almost unheard of in that amount of time in stocks. That's usually the shit you see happen in a week on crypto. If it's a meme coin that says poop on Trump's head or something,
Yeah. Yes, Jason was there. Great show, Hesher, Maddie, Daniel. Yeah, thanks, Jason. It was great having you and everybody else there for that show. That was a big one on that channel. I looked at it with less than 24 hours later. It had almost 3,000 views. I was like, holy crap.
A lot of views.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That did really well. So that was really fun. We'll definitely do that again. I'll link that on the show notes at alternatecurrentradio.com, which is where you can go. And
quick, Hesher, put Palantir in the title of this one.
Yeah, really, no kidding, huh? I need to edit that.
I think that's the buzz. I think that's the SEO word right now.
Palantir exposed.
Folks, help us write some clickbaity titles. We know you know them when you see them, so tell us what we should make and to get everybody's eyeballs on us. Just kidding.
That's right. All right, so well, let's go around. Let's just go around the room real quick about this whole Israel, Iran, where does the United States stand thing before we get into any Palantir stuff. I will just say, and I think I said this on Sunday Wire this last Sunday, but this is a huge open goal opportunity for the Trump administration and for Trump himself to say, you know what, you guys deal with it. We're out of here. We're not cutting any more $3 trillion checks. We're not getting, all that is over now. You're looking to start wars of aggression. I'm the president of peace. You know what I mean? It's so simple. Just like the mea culpa on the jabs and the warp speed and all that is so simple. You could actually save untold numbers of lives by just saying, "Hey, don't take that stuff." And you could save untold numbers of lives of just saying, "Hey, we're not sending anything more over there. You guys have gone completely off your rocker." So that's where I'm at with it. And until something like that happens, and yes, I know it might be pie in the sky, but it's still my sky and my pie. So that's where I'm at. I don't know what else to say at this point, other than we can dive into some of the clips and talk about some of the ideology associated with those on Capitol Hill that want to see this happen. But that's all I really have to say about it at this point. Short of the decade of other broadcasting I've done on this topic. What do you think, Based?
I think that I just, again, I'm astounded by how quickly things moved with this and by the turnaround. Number one, the turnaround by the army of Trump bots or whatever, also that turned around and just are promoting the Big Nine style narrative with this whole thing. It's amazing. First of all, the nuke is going to get a nuke. Iran is going to get a nuke by next week if we don't do this narrative that's been happening since like 1992. I saw Corbett reposted his a new video, and also has covered this extensively. Everybody that we know has covered this sort of stuff, and it's the exact same thing as WMD in Iraq. It's the exact same thing, and I just it's pretty sickening. I'll say that before the Israel Palestine thing was bad enough, but I've got a bunch of students and ex-students who are Palestinian, are born in Palestine. They're Palestinian. They're Palestinian American. They go back there every summer, and I've really been worried about them. They live in the West Bank, and they have to go through Jordan to get there, and I heard a couple stories, before we got out for the term about last time that they were trying to get in, and they were slapped by guards going in. Some of them were denied. You can't go in. And then all this pops off. And so it's pretty disconcerting on that front. But I will say that I'm sure, and I pray that they'll be fine. But I'm just really astounded by this. I've been going through a list of books and films that have related to this situation and are either revelatory or it's just the same cycle of events. That combined with the immigration riots and everything happening here, I think that I feel vindicated in terms of my skepticism of Trump personally, especially with this most recent election. And I think it's people sort of short circuit when they come to terms with how things never change and how, the swamp wins. But I've been increasingly kind of blackpilled about events over the last 2 weeks and the way that the pro-Israeli narrative is sort of really permeated every single aspect of everything, TV, radio, internet, conversation. And I just sort of came to the conclusion again with myself that nothing is really going to change here unless, except for one thing, and that's sort of cataclysmic war. And that's not something I want to happen. We obviously don't want to happen, but that's the only thing that's going to change things in this country in a major way in terms of the way the economy works, inflation, social issues, the war stuff, foreign policy. It just keeps continuing. There's no one we know. And we've, you guys have always talked about this. And then I've been here a couple of years talking about this, and everyone we know does that. No one's coming to save you. It's going to be the same thing. It's the same person. It's going to be the person that you thought was going to, be the president of peace ends up being a belligerent victim. It's all belligerent victimhood, and it sort of just continues on. So,
yeah, another leftist tactic, belligerent victimhood.
Yeah.
Another thing, and that's I hate to say it, but that's just something that is to be expected when we have the administration tick-tocking from right to left the way that it is, and doing all their policy and opinion on social media in everyone's faces, almost as though it's designed to fracture parties, to fracture families, to fracture friendships, to hyper politicize everybody over everything, be it, whatever, human nature, politics, health, food, trade, international relations, all of it. There's nothing left that has not been dipped in toxic ooze. I can't really think of much that hasn't been politicized in the identity politic toxic Avenger vat at this point.
Not to mention, I'll also say this, not to mention the tone of op-eds on the whole event, on the Israeli attacks. The sentiment involved, this sort of hero making sentiment where everything is just dipped in sentimental hogwash. It's like, and then like you hear this, if you ever tune into like Boomer AM radio, like when you're on your lunch hour at work out there, it's like you tune in and it's like, and then the brave military industrial complex contractors decided they would risk their lives to send the missiles to help our closest ally. And it's, everything is dipped in this sort of narrative, like as if you're writing, you're the hero in your own story and you're writing the story at the time. And it permeates every single aspect. And it's amazing. It's amazing how people can buy this. One of the other things is that when you talk to people in real life and you are skeptical of your own government or your own president, no matter who it is, when you bring up the other country and the person, their immediate response is, well, of course we support. Of course they're our closest ally. Of course they're chosen, all this stuff. And that's fine. That's their prerogative. But then you say something like, well, yeah, but you never even questioned it. I mean, this isn't even your own president, and you never even thought to question. You think that they're totally infallible. And they're like, well, of course. But how could you have that sort of idea about, I mean, it's amazing. It's like people have completely short circuited, and we thought it was bad after Karanka 5 years ago. And I think this is part of it. There's just the kind of like mongoloidal levels of stupidity, a smooth brain walking around about anything. And it's, of course, people watching are like, yeah, of course it's like that. But it really is astounding once you sort of, when you kind of come to terms with the way that people think like that. I think it's
amazing. Dude, no, it blows my mind too. Like, especially since after Karanka, it was like, you saw like once the midterm elections happened in 2020, there was a flip in mainstream media, and all of a sudden lab leak theory became popularized in mainstream media, and what had the veneer of dissident sort of analysis and talk up until that point became mainstream talk and analysis. And it's the same thing with this topic now. It's like you were shadow banned, you were a pariah for talking about it ahead of time. But then once it becomes politicized, it's, boom, in come all the conservatives. And the thing that blows me away, it's like when that happened between 2022 and 2024, or between 2022 and October 7, put it that way, of 2023, it was like all of a sudden all the mainstream conservatives were very concerned about deep state. They got a nice dose of what the deep state actually meant, because conspiracy theorists, if you will, pardon the derogatory term, and mainstream conservatives were walking side by side for almost 2 straight years there and learning from each other, and a lot of people that were independent and conspiracy oriented started getting more interested in politics, and a lot of people that were mainstream conservatives started getting more interested in more esoteric political information. They're interested in what is the deep state, who is the deep state. They're interested in, why have you people been talking about Illuminati all this time? What are all these secret societies? What's going on with Epstein? It's just like rabbit hole after rabbit hole, and the doom scroll is promoting that as mainstream content all of a sudden instead of fringe content.
Is this why Dan Bongino and Cash App PayPal are like sweating talking about the existence of any tapes, or we got to hold on to the tapes, or this is the official narrative of this thing that we probably still can't mention? Is that why that happened as a lead up to this? Is it an immediate lead up to this invasion? It's like, yeah. Oh no, the thing that we said didn't happen actually absolutely did happen, as I sit here in my athleisure, sweating my ass off because we're about to do this thing and everybody who's involved is compromised. So we're going to push this thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's a bazillion-dollar question right there.
Yeah.
That is the question. One of the questions.
I saw a clip of Ron Paul talking from 2012, a thing that we forget, it's just good to be reminded of that. Ron Paul's talking in the debates in 2012, talking about, I want no more war. I want all this stuff to end. We want our people to come home. We want to not be involved in the things over there. They have their thing in the Middle East, and we want our people to be not involved. We got to take care of this country first. And he's booed. He's just incredibly booed throughout this thing. And it's just a good reminder of the fact that, anybody with any sense talking about anything is just completely shot down. So
yeah, totally, man. Mystical Pharaoh, you saw some of these clips with Ted Cruz, and that's just one conversation. That one conversation out of many, many threads out there, many video conversations out there. But I think that the sort of the content of that conversation really illustrates the current dialectic that we're supposed to gravitate towards one side or the other on. But what do you think of that, man? And what do you think of Ted Cruz's performance? I can tell you that Texans here, just from one day being out and about around them, were pretty embarrassed by Ted Cruz.
Well, the funny thing is, Ted Cruz is supposed to be one of the high IQ and lawyer. So I'm wondering what is the rest of that Congress look like in the Senate. So it's really interesting. But I wasn't really surprised because I think I knew all of his views before. What I was more surprised was how he was actually almost like solidified all the prototypes. All the stereotypes that we know, right? So number one, once he started questioning the Israel, about Israel and AIPAC, the first thing he did, like, why do you hate Jews? And he called them anti-Semite because you were talking about Jews. And Tucker was like, I didn't talk about Jews. I was talking about Israel and AIPAC, right? Second thing is how he was so casual about that whole spying that they do, right? And how friendly nations spying each other, and we're okay. We're really sharing a lot of intelligence. I think the way he tried to sell it is so important for us to be friends with Israel, because basically Mossad do our dirty work, and they do give us a lot of information that we need, right? Which is something I think people get this almost backward thinking. I do believe that actually Israel doesn't. It's the other way around. Britain put Israel in the Middle East for a reason, right? And I think U.S. latched on Israel, and the ties between the Mossad, the CIA, and MI6 is pretty strong, right? So I think really Israel and Mossad is more of like the bully that they put to do their dirty work, right? And to do things that they don't want necessarily to do up front. And that's why we see the support that we give to them. So I don't think actually they are in control, but it's the same people that control the same intelligence agency, right? Is have the God, what's the word for needs to ensure that basically that the collaboration with Israel and the support continues, right? So that was interesting. The other piece that was also interesting is how he tried to dance around this whole APAC thing, right? And I think it was very clear when actually Tucker put it, and when he said like, oh, so APAC is what is APAC? And he tried to say, well, it's a group of people that lobby for increased relations between U.S. and Israel.
Translation: my boss.
Yeah. So then, basically, and Tucker asked him like straight up questions. Does that mean that they are lobbying for the benefit of the Israel government? And he tried to dance around this, right? Because he didn't want to say that they are lobbying for a foreign country. We all know they do.
And lobbying is government speak for paying, right? I mean, ultimately.
Absolutely. And then the funny thing is, APAC came out today on X. They published one of the clips in the interview when he said that when he came into the Senate, his mission was to be the best or the number one advocate for Israel. And basically they posted this tweet and said, "Thank you, Ted Cruz, for being a champion of the U.S.-Israel relationship and advancing politics that strengthen our mutually beneficial alliance with Israel. APEC and our 5 million grassroots members from across the United States are proud to stand with pro-Israel leaders like you." I thought that was ironic, right? Because
as someone that lives in Texas, I would say, what about fucking Texans? What about fucking Americans, dude?
Yeah, right. And I tried to press him on that, and he kept dancing around it, right? And then at the end, he tried to push it to his faith, right? He said, like,
which he couldn't describe very well either.
Yeah, which he didn't, right? And he tried to conflate like Israel with the current state of Israel, right? Which it's sadly there is a lot of American that buy into that, especially Baptist and some of the evangelicals, but it's and we all know about the Scofield Bible, right? So, but I mean, the point is that the interview was pretty telling. I think it exposed a lot of what we already know, right? But it also like actually showed skills for Tucker, because I think he's pretty skillful. Actually, he did that interview in a very skillful way, I would say. And he pushed him hard, and I think he asked him things and pushed certain buttons that got him to say what he said to embarrass himself. So I give him actually thumbs up for that.
Yeah, Ted definitely dug himself a couple of holes there, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my take about that interview.
All right, cool. I saw you dropped us a couple links too. Let me know if you want me.
Yeah, we can talk about those later.
All right. Okay. Let's let me go to Ruckus and then we'll play some clips from this. Ruckus, what do you think, man? A lot of heat, a lot of spice around the Ted Cruz, Tucker Carlson interview.
Cannot imagine why. I don't see what the problem is. I really don't. Ted Cruz did a fantastic job selling the audience on the idea of going to war with Iran. Clearly, that guy is out of a job soon. That was my immediate impression was that this dude is you're fired. And then Tulsi button heads with Trump not long after or around the same time. I'm like, there she goes. I'm like, because Trump is known for this sort of thing, right? Because Trump is clearly on all sides of his dual forked tongue personality, whatever. Yeah, he's said in public and apparently, according to all the reports, in private, he's gung ho. He's ready to do this thing. So let's get it on like Donkey Kong. He doesn't care about what the American people think, apparently. So that's fun. So I care. Where are all the people who usually help us sway opinions of the public or our leaders, like important people like Elon Musk? Where's he at on this subject? He's quite vocal about a lot of things, especially related to America. I haven't heard or seen the news reporting. I don't follow him on X. And even though I don't follow him on X, I usually get to see what he's talking about. I haven't seen anything from that dude since this started popping off. That's kind of weird. I also noticed a serious lacking in the amount of times that Hollywood washed out celebrities like Johnny Depp and former musicians who like to grind their thing even when they're like old as AF, grandparents like Madonna. They're not coming out flapping their gums over this latest, hottest political hot button issue. That's kind of weird. Obama. Where's Obama? I haven't seen word or heard heads or tails of either of the Obamas. Where are those dudes at? Michelle or Barack. They should be doing their podcast circuits and warning everybody this is a very dangerous thing. Britney Spears, she's not out flashing her knives in protest against the war in Iran. Katy Perry should be on board a spaceship somewhere doing LSD and sniffing flowers and begging the world for peace. And something that Bazelit said earlier, like triggered me. I'm like, these people, Bongino, I'm sorry, no amount of compromise is worth in exchange for I'm going to go ahead and keep this buried and allow World War III and nuclear Armageddon to wipe out everybody on the planet just to keep my dirty little secret a secret. So either the other dirty secret is that these nukes aren't what they say they are, which is always a possibility, or the compromise really, I mean, this is all a show. I mean, it's got to be some really bad compromise. You know what I'm saying? Did I say that word right? I mean, what kind of sick and twisted shit did you do if you're willing to let's just let the world burn? I don't want anyone to find out about that, right? That's crazy. Yeah. So all of this stuff is wild. And my number one impression has all been covered by you guys already. It's the number one thing running through all of our heads. It's like, what year is this?
Yeah. How did we end up here? Why is this the
my
context?
Favorite meme? Yeah, my favorite meme is like Iran is just seconds away from building a nuclear weapon since the 1980s.
Yeah, since the 80s. They've literally, it's the same as the green Holocaust, right? The ecological Holocaust. They've been telling us that since the 1970s. The planet's going to fall apart. You know, here's 50 years of sci-fi about that. Here's a former vice president making documentaries about it, telling you that the California coastline is going to fall into the ocean, and then he goes and buys 9 houses along the California coastline and sits back and makes a bunch of money. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. We need some comic relief, so let's you guys seen the baby trend, the AI baby trend on the social?
This is actually my least favorite AI trend because I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it either. I don't know if I should play the music in the background, but here we go. Here's some baby trend AI for where we're at right now. We've not seen the baby/human head AI trend so far. I apologize that you had to see it here first. All right, we'll B-roll that. It goes on a little bit too long. There's Zelensky, Putin. Oh boy. Boy.
I like the one with the Ayatollah. And then I ordered this motherfucker took out all the where are the generals?
You sunk my battleship.
Yeah.
There is one baby AI one that I like where it's the baby AI podcast. That one's cute. It's not a celebrity AI baby. It's just a random baby that's been AI doing a podcast, but it's still a baby. So it's commenting about like how weird the world is. It's really cute, and he talks to like the dog, the family dog, and stuff like that. It's funny.
There you go. Yeah, I've seen a couple of good ones too. All right, so here's TruthStream posting a 1:37 clip of this interview that we're talking about. Such theater, I feel like I should be watching it at a distance through opera glasses. So not pulling any punches there on her opinion. Thanks, Melissa. All right, here's Tucker Carlson and Texas State Senator Ted Cruz.
How many people live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah,
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's,
because,
it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay,
it's not even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know anything about the country.
No,
92 million people. No, no thoughts.
That's
about
Dr. Strangelove.
Yeah,
that's from Dr. Strangelove. Remember, 80, 90 million dead tops.
Yeah. No fucks given about how many women and children and non-combatants are included in that number or what that number even is.
Ted also does look like the baby you just showed. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like his baby body. Very, very weird.
Almost as bad as Rubio. We call Rubio the fetus around here.
Oh.
You don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump.
He also asked him about the makeup of the country. Like I think he missed the goal. One of the goals there that, obviously this is heated. It's not a criticism, but you could have asked, are you aware that there is a Christian population in that country? Same question you could ask about, I don't know, Palestine, Gaza.
You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
Who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe
we're
that...
carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Oh, what? Wait a minute. Hold on. This is one of my favorite parts.
You're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay. People are listening.
Jesus.
What a shit show.
Hey, that's equivocation. That's in Revelation, you're lukewarm because you're neither hot nor cold. I will spew you out of my mouth. That's what Ted Cruz is doing right there. And it's interesting, just his making the point that is always made about the chosen people with Israel. And I do like that. I like Tucker Carlson's pushback on that, saying, look, I'm a Christian. You don't get to tell me what to think. If I'm a Christian, if we're talking about Christianity and you're saying that this is Christian, tell me what you mean rather than assuming that I know it. And I guess not, maybe it didn't come to him or whatever, but about that Israel being the fulfillment through the gospel of Christians are Israel. That Christianity is the fulfillment through the gospel of Israel, and it's not the nation founded in 1947 with the Babylonian Talmud bombing. Anyway,
yeah.
I don't know.
No,
it's very strange. The painting in the background is another thing. It's very weird,
dude. That Reagan painting, right?
I mean, it looks like an AI set.
Yeah, right.
For the For the
Reagan
longest time,
posed
I've
in the
wrestled with this idea that at some point, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's necessarily biblically, prophetically related, but I believe that at the beginning when I first started believing this. Now I believe it for different reasons, for similar reasons, but not because of any Bible prophecy. But I do believe that at some point in my lifetime, they're going to make every effort to make Christians, actual, true, honest to God Christians, and all that concept of Christianity to be the bad guys. And I, for the longest time, I've wrestled with this idea of like, how on earth are they going to make it so that Christians who are, on their fundamental beliefs, the most peaceful, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not, these are the good guys, right? How are they going to make them appear to be the bad guys? Well, now I think I see how it's going to be via proxy, because there is this another thing that's been amazing in my lifetime, just in the last 5 years alone, has sped up really quickly, is like this general assumption by the public who are not Christians that all Christians believe this, that Christians must, that Christianity is Zionism, and it's not. These are two incredibly different things, and they are so attached at the hip now. It's less important what the Christians are believing. That's between them and God, and there are a lot of people who are reaching out to those folks and are getting through, thank God, literally. But it's the rest of the population I worry about, because as far as they're concerned, all of the horrible things that are about to happen to this world in the name of Israel is going to be tacked on and associated with like some stinky luggage association to real Christians. And I fear that we will actually get persecuted for the actions of these fake Zionist Christians. That's my biggest concern.
Speaking of that, I did go to the bookstore today and I saw a copy of John Hagee's Blood Moons. And it reminded me that last week we had the strawberry moon, which looked very much like a blood moon. Was this the blood moon of Israel? Are we going to see the red heifer? But this is, Glenn Beck was right there with this, right? This is the thing, and it's not funny, but it is funny in terms of the satirical nature of this stuff, how satire eventually becomes reality in some sort of weird postmodern event where we have the president of peace who ends up being the president of war, but peace is war. So, right? Slavery is freedom, ignorance is strength, and so I don't know.
Muted.
Yeah, well, sorry, thank you. Yeah, back to living in the Orwellian upside down, I guess. Pharaoh, what about you, man? Thoughts on that clip before we get to the next one?
No, I guess you guys covered it pretty well.
All right. Well, speaking of the theological aspect here, this next clip gets a little bit more into that from Senator Cruz here.
Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Of those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of, it says the nation of Israel. So that's in the Bible. As a Christian, I believe that.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my. You pull out the phone and use the.
It's in Genesis, but so you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it. And you don't know where in the Bible it is, but that's like your theology. I'm confused. What does that even mean?
Tucker,
I'm a Christian. I want to know what you're talking about.
Okay. Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two,
hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And what
does that mean, Israel?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
But hold on, define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel? Do you not know what Israel is? That would be the country you've asked like 49 questions about.
So that's what Genesis, that's what God is talking about.
The nation of Israel, yes.
And so is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel?
He's talking about the nation of Israel. Yeah, nations exist, and he's discussing a nation. A nation was the people of Israel.
Is the nation
the
God's referring to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
And
gotta pause right there. Pharaoh, jump in here, dude. What do you think about that?
I don't know what to say.
You don't think that God was talking about Benjamin Netanyahu?
Well, yeah. Well, like what? Like how long ago was that?
Couple thousand years, no big.
Actually, the next piece, if you play this, the next piece is really.
All right.
It's gonna explain that.
All right,
very
here we
well.
go.
By the way, it's not run by Benjamin Netanyahu as a dictator. It's a
I'm not saying
democratic
he's a
country that
dictator.
elected.
But he's the prime minister,
Right.
What?
But just like America is the country run by Donald Trump. No, actually, the American people elected Donald Trump. The same principle
This is
there.
silly. I'm talking about the political entity of modern Israel.
Yes, and that is
You believe
Israel.
that's what God was talking about in
Yes.
Genesis.
I do, but
That country's existed since when?
for thousands of years. Now there was a time when it didn't exist, and then it was recreated just over 70
But
years ago.
I'm saying, I think most people understand that line in Genesis to refer to the Jewish people, God's chosen people.
That's not what it says.
Okay, Israel, but you don't even know where in the Bible it is.
It's just complete ignorance. I honestly don't know if he's that ignorant or he actually truly believed that.
I
What
think
do you
it's
guys
both.
Do you think he's
I think it's
actually
both.
that ignorant?
Yeah, I think it's both.
Yeah, like
Oh no, he's just playing. He doesn't believe anything. He is not a believer. He is a lying, fork-tongued devil, 100%. I'll put money on that one. I know the Bible does teach us that you don't know somebody's heart, but ye should know them by their fruits. And I know that man's fruits, and he does not know the Lord.
Yeah, and he's tilling some new soil right now. So whatever fruits he's already bared, we're about to see what comes next. And if this goes the way I'm afraid it's going to go, a lot of these people that we're talking about right now, their names will go down in history one way or the other, depending on the outcome of all this. Baze, what about you, man? You want to throw in on that whole
Dick Cheney's sitting in his dungeon lair right now, just like, yes.
Yeah, I know,
It's like
dude.
Palpatine.
John
It
McCain looking down on him like, yes,
never,
yes.
yeah, it never goes away. It never goes away. And another thing that they're pushing right now is, well, the son of the Shah says that there should be a war with Israel, because it's like, it's the same shit with the foreign minister from Iraq. Remember in the Senate hearings in the hearings before the war with Colin Powell and WMD, and his damn daughter or whatever is giving the babies in the incubators speech. It's the same thing. The Shah, who is placed as a puppet by CIA and then deposed in 1979, says that we should go back. We should go back to war. It's the same shit.
Just over and over again, man. It's the same shit from all parties.
Mm-hmm.
Just the only difference is we have social media now, and we all get to watch it in real time, I suppose. All right. Well, okay. Let's see what else this conversation had to spawn for us here.
Material effect that helped the United States. Russia is backstopped by China, and I recommend that you go there and see it. It is way nicer than Washington, D.C. Way nicer.
I don't understand. For some reason, you are really invested in defending Russia, and I don't get that. I'm not attacking you with that. I'm genuinely like, I don't get why you're so passionate about defending Russia.
Material effect that helped the United States. Russia is backstopped.
Oh, the laugh. Oh,
Sounded to me like, as somebody who's just coming into the middle of the conversation, that Tucker wishes that America would be better than Russia because he likes America, because he's American and he's a proud American. And he's like, boy, it kind of fucking sucks that Russia is perfect and Washington, D.C. is like people are getting murdered and shit, Right. But obviously he's defending Russia, clearly.
Yeah.
Bad take, Ted. All bad takes.
Yeah. Anyone else want to jump on that one?
I just really recommend people watch, our friends and their deciphering of some of the theological issues on that are very good at this. Obviously, Jay's talked about this a bunch of times. My friend David Patrick Carey, Church of the Eternal Logos, and some of the Orthodox priests with Father Moses and other people that talk about this sort of thing, really, really get it right and totally decipher this, generations long boomer narrative about the raison d'etre of how to get into this stuff because of the one cherry picked Bible verse that they think they know here with, like, as Ted Cruz says. And I like, Mystical Pharaoh asked that question, is he ignorant or does he really think these things? And that's a very good question. And Ruckus, I think, is right about these people. The end result is that they really don't believe in anything. They don't seem to believe in anything. They believe in, it's like in Ferris Bueller, I just believe in me. They just believe in themselves and their paycheck and their sort of power system. And it's just the same. And I really am, I'm not amazed or astounded that Trump has taken the bait, but what I am astounded about is that it seems admitted now that he was disingenuous in his censuring of Netanyahu so that they could ramp up the rocket attacks beforehand, and admitting that sort of thing is, I don't know if it qualifies as a war crime, as if that even matters now, but it's, what are you doing? You're again, it's this belligerent victimhood of then coming out with saying, I've got the rockets, I've got them, we can do them at any time. Okay, great. In terms of posturing, in a wartime setting, fine. But I thought we weren't at war.
Yeah. It reminds me of what was it, just 2-3 weeks ago when Russia did an attack when Ukraine did an attack deep inside Russia, and Trump says we didn't know anything about it, we didn't have anything to do with it, and Hegseth is like, yeah, I was in the Situation Room. It's just like, which is it, you guys? And this time around it was like, Donald Trump says, oh, don't do it, Netanyahu, and then before even 24 hours pass, he does it, and then Trump's like, yeah, you guys got to come to the bargaining table. The fuck are you talking about? They were already at a diplomatic table. They were at the diplomatic table like 2 days before this happened. So, there's almost zero difference between the Trump administration and the Biden administration when it comes to the situation in Gaza. And this is just going to be branded with Trump's, brand name because it's under his presidency. But it's like they would say things in press conferences and on social media, they being the presidential administration, we want to de-escalate, we want talks, we don't want this to continue. But then they go over to an IPAC meeting and talk about how, we're going to send another $4 billion over there tonight. It's just like, which is it, you guys? Why is the public, just be honest, say, we support this genocide and we support a war in Iraq. And, both of you parties are privy to this.
There's also a great clip about Syria, or a series of great clips on Syria. Ted Cruz all of a sudden becomes a wait and see guy. Right. Yeah. With ISIS in Syria.
Oh, okay. Yeah. After Trump saved Jelani and all those jihadis back in 2019. Okay. Yeah. Makes perfect sense. All right. Here's another one, not to kick a dead horse, but we got some gems. We pulled the gems.
Do you think that it's just interesting because what you're now describing in a very defensive way, I will say, is foreign influence over our politics?
No.
And you began, and it's so transparently obvious to everybody. I don't know why you would be embarrassed of it. You've said that you are sincerely for Israel. I believe you. I don't think you have some weird agenda. You seem to be sincere.
By the way, Tucker, it's a very weird thing. The obsession with Israel. When we're talking about foreign countries,
it's hardly an obsession.
You're not talking about Chinese. You're not talking about Japanese. You're not talking about the Brits. You're not talking about the French. The question, what about the Jews? What about the Jews?
Oh, I'm an anti-Semite now.
Senator, you're asking the questions, Tucker. You're asking, why are the Jews controlling our foreign policy?
Senator,
that's what you just asked.
Hardly saying that. And I have...
That is exactly what you just said.
Well, actually, I can speak for myself and tell you what I am saying.
Good.
On behalf not simply of myself, but on my many Jewish friends who would have the same questions, which is to what extent... And it's interesting you're trying to derail my questions by calling me an anti-Semite, which you are.
I did not.
Of course you are. And rather than be honorable enough to say it right to my face,
I'm
are
sitting-
in a sleazy feline way implying it, or just asking questions about the Jews. I'm not asking questions about the Jews. There's nothing to do with Jews or Judaism. It has to do with the foreign government.
Isn't Israel controlling our foreign policy? That's not about the Jews.
You said, I'm asking.
And by the way, you're the one that just called me, I think, a sleazy feline. So let's be clear.
A sleazine.
To imply that I'm an anti-Semite, which you just did.
No, I just said, why is that the only question you're asking? You answer it. Give me another reason. If you're not an anti-Semite, give me another reason why the obsession is Israel.
I am in no sense obsessed with Israel. We are on the brink of war with Iran. And so these are valid questions.
But you're not asking about Iran or the
if I can
Ayatollah.
finish, you asked me why I'm obsessed with Israel.
Yep.
3 minutes after telling me that when you first ran for Congress, you elucidated one of your main goals, which is to defend Israel.
Yes.
And I'm the one who's obsessed with Israel. I don't see a lawmaker's job as defending the interests of a foreign government, period. Any government, including the ones that my ancestors come from. So that's my position. That does not make me an anti-Semite. And shame on you for suggesting otherwise. And I mean that. And that's low, and you know it's low. So why don't you just answer my questions
I'll
in a
answer any
straightforward,
question
rational
like.
way? You certainly have the IQ to do it.
So, shame on you is cute, by the way, Tucker.
It is. It's not cute. I'm offended. I'm obsessed with the Jews. You just told me
you
that
just called me a
ran-
sleazy feline.
It is sleazy to imply that I'm an anti-Semite for asking questions about how my government is
You want
run.
to count how many questions you asked about? What about the Jews? What about Israel? What about
I
AIPAC?
never asked about the Jews. This has nothing to do with the Jews, whatever that means. This has to do with a foreign government. And once again, shame on you for conflating the two. Or do you?
It's so cringy, but it's worth it to see Ted get put in place. But it's so cringy.
He sucks.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like we get to choose between that and Beto O'Rourke's and other psychos here in Texas. My goodness, thought this was going to be better. Fleety says Tucker owned him so hard I'm laughing harder than I have all year.
Ted Cruz, more like Ted Lose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man.
It was looking at it in a few times now. It seems like it was less the skill of Tucker and more the fact that Ted Cruz just sucks balls. Oh my God, he's terrible.
Yeah, he sucks.
He's a punching bag.
Yeah, he's bad.
Absolute punching bag, if you know what you're talking about. Wow. Yeah, that was one of my favorite ones, I think. That was a well spent 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Meanwhile, everything's still expensive as hell.
Yeah, it's tuna sandwiches are still $20.
Yeah.
Not in Russia. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to defend Russia.
In Moscow, 5 ruble.
I dropped a clip in there, Hesher, that you could play. It was an X clip, POV. You get drafted to fight Iran.
Oh, I love that one. Yeah, I have it. I have it lined up somewhere here.
Because it's in line with everything, and he just asking questions is anti-Semitic. It's crazy. That's the world we live in.
Okay, I've got 2 more clips here from this, and then we'll hit that to close it out. So let's see. Share this tab. Hopefully, this is one we already played, and I can just go past it.
I'm asking about your allegation and the Prime Minister of Israel's allegation that
Iran
is trying to murder the president.
Killing terrorists is a good thing. Killing people who are trying to murder Americans is a good thing. Because if you're America first, you want to protect America. And so killing Osama bin Laden was a fantastic
But you don't
day
really
for the
believe
world.
that they're trying to murder Trump, or you?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Then why aren't you calling for military action against Tehran right now?
Because they're not very effective. In terms of hitmen, their hitmen are not very effective. I do think...
So they're hitmen, but not the bad kind, the efficient kind?
No,
what are you
just
saying?
They're a weak country who is on its knees, and I think we need to...
Then why are we so afraid of them? Why are they the biggest threat if they're a weak country that's on its knees?
Because they're trying...
I'm trying to keep track.
They're trying to develop... Be a little less snarky.
I know, right. That is a problem that I have. I'm asking about your allegation and the Prime Minister of Israel's allegation that
That's so good.
Gotta play the Curb Your Enthusiasm music.
Right? Be a little less snarky. All right. And then last one, my buddy Lionel, shout out to Lionel, posted this and said, Ted Cruz will never be able to recover from this.
Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Of those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of it. It says,
Okay, we already saw that one. All right, good one, Lionel. Okay, here we go. Point of view, you just got drafted to fight Iran. Here we go.
But Mom, I don't want to go fight Iranians for Israel.
Joey, don't you dare be anti-Semitic!
I want to go home, sir! You some kind of anti-Semite, Joey!
I don't even know why we were there. Let's focus on why that thought is anti-Semitic, Joey. Get a job, loser. Israel needs our taxes. But I'm not even dead. That's anti-Semitic, son. But
Yikes.
Yeah.
You know what else is going to be anti-Semitic soon? Christianity. So hold on to your butts.
Yeah.
I want to make a plug for something real quick for the other, because you shouted out the Orthodox. So for my born again Christians, the Baptists, the Southern Baptists, please do consider checking out Liberty Fellowship MT. You can find their website, libertyfellowshipmt.com. I think it's Pastor Chuck Baldwin. If you'd like to hear what a true born again believing Christian who believes in the same Bible that you do and can show you in the Bible where, how, and why it doesn't say what Ted Cruz is saying and what it really says. Instead, if you're curious, if you consider yourself a Christian, I highly recommend you start here. Okay, so that's Pastor Chuck Baldwin, Liberty Fellowship. Okay, please consider that.
Listen to Rick Wiles at True News on this one too.
There you go. And our friend Odd Man Out and his circle of friends. I hate to say it, this might be more controversial, but what's his name? Adam Green, right? No More News. What's his name?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, these people. I mean, there's the religion in the Bible is not what you think it is. If you think it's what other people tell you it is, it's what you discover for yourself. So you really need to go on your own self-discovery before you start looking like Ted Cruz in front of Tucker Carlson.
That's right. If you don't, you are a sleazy feline.
And if you do, you're anti-Semite, so don't do it.
Okay, let's not forget sleazy feline. All right.
Yeah, that's going to be required later. Okay. All right. Well, I think we can kind of, that's a pretty good sort of overview. That discussion that came out was a pretty good overview of what the current fissure looks like inside the MAGA movement. And it's just amazing to me. It's almost like the Democrat Party. It's like they come to full wokeness and then they just live by shooting themselves in the foot. Shoot yourself in the foot over and over again, destroy anything that normal people can relate to, and fracturize those that remain in the fray into multiple camps. This is not a good thing, and it's not happening by accident. Yes, there's a lot of stupidity. There's a lot of ignorance and ignorance going on, but I think this is all happening for a reason. And one reason people might surmise would be because when you're going into a stance of world war, there's always a period of dumbing down, of blunting the financial and the tech and the industrial capability of countries, bringing controlled austerity to places. I could go on. I have a really long list, but I think I'm just talking about the events of the last 10 years. So there we go. There we have that. I don't know. Anyone else have anything else they want to say on this whole conflict? I mean, we were told yesterday that today the decision might be made about American forces being officially, let's face it, this is already a USA/Israel operation, and it appears as though USA is providing munitions, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, that kind of thing, various resources. And Ted Cruz pretty much said as much there. I think that's, if I was to translate what Senator Cruz was saying there in that interview, I think that's what he was saying. And you combine that with what Caroline Leavitt said today in the White House press room, and that kind of was like, well, it's like Mystical was saying earlier. It's up to Donald Trump. He defines what MAGA is, and he's going to make the decision. But maybe that decision will come in the next 2 weeks. So now that we're 2 weeks to flatten the nuclear war curve right now, I suppose.
But it's not war, because what does the United States of America need to do to go to war? Anyone?
Vote? Congress? Anyone?
That's right. You need congressional approval to actually go to war. So whatever this is, it's not war, at least not a constitutional or legal one. But then again, the current conflict with Israel and what's happening with the Palestinians certainly qualifies as not warlike behavior, at least not that we're familiar with, at least not the type of warlike behavior that doesn't get people in trouble. Usually, it's usually illegal. They're called war crimes. But anyways, this definition of war. So it's totally cool for us to send the bunker busting bombs and get directly involved. What constitutes a war? What is that? Does that mean we got boots on the ground? We got planes dropping bombs? What is it? It's okay that we send all of our expensive, much needed here at home defense equipment just in case the dreaded, scary China or Russia or Iran. Oh, wait, we already got Iran. All right. Okay. So who's left? North Korea. What happens if they want to jump in and start shooting at America? What are we going to do? We don't have a way to defend ourselves because we gave it all to Israel. Oh, shit. Well, now what? Now what? I guess Palantir to the rescue. All right. I answered my own question.
If Laura Loomer has her way. Real quick, here's thank you, White Bird, for this one. This is a short snippet out of CBS News. As President Trump is contemplating potential U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, law enforcement officials have stepped up surveillance of Iran-backed operatives in the United States. Okay. Multiple sources have told CBS News. So there's your multiple sources. FBI Director Cash App PayPal has increased efforts to monitor possible domestic sleeper cells linked to Hezbollah, a U.S. designated foreign terrorist organization backed by Iran, since Israel's Operation Rising Lion offensive began earlier this month. U.S. officials said both the White House and the FBI declined to comment. The threat from Iranian operatives has worried current and former administration officials since Iranian General Qasem Soleimani was assassinated on Mr. Trump's orders in January of 2020. So just a little extra mainstream news talking point context for you there about what we're looking at here in the coming days and weeks.
Yeah, I mean, this is not something that happened now, right? They've been planning this for decades. I think we all know that, right? And it just happened to be the right time for them to do this. Israel did not do this on its own. Israel did this with help of US, and we actually, I do believe that we pushed Israel to do that because we wanted to execute this. And I do believe that this 2 weeks bullshit that Trump came up with today is nothing more than a stunt for him to either try to get Iran to run out of steam, before we intervene, so that he doesn't look bad when he goes in and fail. Because whoever this gang in our government and in DC that believes that Iran is a country that they can take down that easily are really stupid. And if anything, they should have learned from their mistakes with Russia, right? Same stupid ideology that they thought that Russia is a country they can crush, right, with sanction, and then they can create a proxy war, and it's going to drag Putin, and they're going to overthrow him, right? Completely opposite happened, right? And they should have learned from that. But no, we don't learn. because this is ideologues, right? They still want, this is the last push for that like homogeny of the US empire. And it's not accepting the multipolar world, right? They were not accepting that we no longer control the world the way we used to do it. We just don't want to accept it. And I don't know how much do we really want to continue, and how much we want to destroy our nation before we realize that we no longer in that position. That the whole reason why we elected Trump in office, or I personally voted for him, is I thought that he will take notes of this multipolar world, and he's going to start focusing his energy on building us back, right? We want to start building back. We want to focus on ourselves, right? They want to label us now as isolationists, right? And we're the bad people because we want to just look on ourselves and deport the illegals that invaded. We are a country that are invaded by millions of people. Even if we get in a freaking war right now, we have 20 million plus illegal people here in the US that we have no idea who it belongs to. That how can you go and actually fight a war like this? Your entire like country is open from inside, right? So instead of focusing on what we fucking elected you to do, which is deporting those people, right, and start building us back from inside in, right? Instead of the money you're gonna go and spend on like 200 million is the number I heard to just to for one day of that fucking Iron Dome that's not even doing shit, right? It was 5% like success rate, right? And it doesn't even do anything, right? That's coming from our freaking pockets, right? And instead, let's invest this money actually in small business in the US, right? And instead of you going and giving amnesty to like people that's working in big ag and illegals working in big ag and like hospitality, you know what? Deport those and let's give some of this money to support those like businesses to actually hire Americans, right? But no, we're not going to do that. This is what I elected him to do. But he's failing to do that. And he's creating chaos. Guess what? Because we have incompetent people. Sadly, we are a country with zero talent of management. We have no diplomats. Like Lavrov can run circles on anybody in the US government. Like there is even no comparison. Like who is our top diplomat right now? Marco Rubio?
The fetus?
Like come on. Like where is the talent? This is fucking US. This is so pathetic. Like this is sad. Like this cannot be the state of our nation. And we have to focus on building ourselves back. But this is we're reaping right now all the fruits of the shit that happened to us and they did to our education system and the destruction of the fabric of this nation. And that's what we're seeing right now. Full collapse in all levels.
Yeah. Boomer Gen set us up for this. They capitulated. The greatest generation, I subjected to some of the worst psyops you could ever imagine, and no internet, so maybe they get a pass. X Gen, I don't know what to say about X Gen. At least we grew up on mountain bikes and without phones. But I don't know that we've helped a whole lot. And Millennial Gen, I mean, you guys don't give a fuck. Yeah, there you go. Under Fire, an American story.
Speaking of reaping the fruits, do you want to hear what Oliver North says about Iran?
Yeah.
And about Israel? This is from his 1991 book, Under Fire, which, by the way, is a signed copy to my dad.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So he says on page 45 of this book, this is Oliver North, Iran-Contra affair. Of course, everybody knows who Oliver North is. He says, in geostrategic terms, Iran was a treasure. While we no longer had any influence there now that the Shah was gone, so far at least, the Soviets had overly kept their distance, but with Russian troops in Afghanistan and Soviet weapons powering the Iraqi assault on Iran, they had the place surrounded. He goes on to talk about how the Soviet threat was why we wanted access to Iran and why at least some members of Iran's government were willing to deal with us. He then talks about the Shah's fall in 1979 and He talks about church hearings and morale with CIA and Walter Mondale. But listen to this part. He says, to this day, I don't know. This is page 24 of this book. To this day, I don't know exactly how our contacts with Iran began because I wasn't involved at the very beginning. But by all accounts, it started with the Israelis. Later, some members of the congressional committees would attempt to gloss over the Israeli role, while others equally in the executive branch tried to exaggerate it or even to blame the whole thing on Israel. Both interpretations are ridiculous. For everything I know, the Iran initiative began with David Kimchi, the Director General of Israel's Foreign Ministry, approached Bud McFarlane in 1985. Like us, the Israelis had enjoyed good relations with Iran before the Ayatollah came to power, and they were eager to resume contact with the Iranians with a view toward influencing the now hostile revolutionary government. The Israelis, who cared deeply about the outcome of the Iran-Iraq war, both Iran and Iraq were now sworn enemies of Israel. The Israelis recognized that Iraq was a far more dangerous threat, not only to Israel, but to the Middle East. By contrast, Iran was more harmful than its rhetoric implied. For all the Ayatollah's anti-Israel talk, Iran was not part of the Arab world and had no recent tradition of malice toward the Israelis. And then he talks about how the Israelis started the arms trade into Iran. McFarlane signed on and discussed the Israeli overture with the president, and initiatives began with General Itzhak Rabin in 1985, Israel's defense minister and the military genius behind the country's dramatic victory in 1967, Six-Day War, started the shipment of American-made Hawk missiles to Iran through the Israelis.
I was just about to say, and who does Israel get their weapons from? Us. There you go.
Yeah, it's no secret, people. 1991. You said?
Yep. Right out of the horse's mouth. On Sunday Wire, myself and Ruckus here were on with Patrick Henningsen and Uncle Haas. We had a very interesting discussion. You can find this at our website, alternatecurrentradio.com. This is Sunday Wire. The Sum of All Fears is the name of the episode. It's episode 551. We've got audio and video versions on the website over here. So if you haven't been to our website in a bit, get over there and check it out. We had a lengthy discussion about this and what to expect on this particular episode. And Uncle Haas is he is of Iranian descent. I think he lives in the UK. But yeah, we had a great discussion, and I highly recommend you go check that out because I'll link it on tonight's show notes after the show, and I'll put it on the show page at alternatecurrentradio.com after the show as well. BB also taken some hits from the upper echelons of the podcasting circuit, the dissenting podcast A level. Candace Owens show. Ian Carroll did a whole, he's sitting in for her while she's doing various pregnancy activities some days, and he talked a whole lot about the new film, the BB Files, I believe it's called.
Yep.
So that went out to millions of viewers. So I don't know, man. This guy's reputation is not looking good to a lot of people on the right and the left.
InfoWars Owen Schroyer had a nice bit too.
Yeah, shout out to Owen. Yeah, that was a good one, definitely. Jay Dyer's been putting some good stuff out. Shout out to Jay. Some of those clips I played, I believe he reposted on his X today. So
Tim Dillon has good takes on this.
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some pretty hot takes going on some pretty big shows right now.
What I'm not seeing are all those awesome viral clips of everybody who are supporting going to war with Iran.
Yeah, I know. Dude, that's the thing. Like, you look at, I don't know, maybe this is the algorithms and what the doom scroll does to me personally, but I read the comments under a lot of these clips, and a lot of clips from people like Charlie Kirk who have, very big audiences, and they're getting, at least as far as my algorithm shows, they're getting brigaded, they're getting ratioed.
They're getting hammered.
They're getting hammered, dude.
Yeah, I've been so fired up the last few
Yeah.
days.
It's bleeding into all my other content creators' channels that I follow on YouTube. So I follow I'm not making this up. So
No, me too.
This guy who does a Bitcoin University, Matthew Cratter, all he talks about is Bitcoin. Like you can go back 365 days and nothing, but all he talks about is Bitcoin. All of a sudden, he's talking about how the U.S. should not be entering into a war with Iran. Huh. That's weird. Same thing with some of the gun YouTubers you may have noticed. I believe Iraq veteran, what's his name?
888, yeah.
Yeah, he came out, of course, being a veteran of Iraq. He's like, I got to say something, guys. A lot of people who don't normally say shit about this are speaking up. So who the F do these people think they are to get away with? Like, this is clearly not doing this in the interest of the American people. It's clearly in the interest of another group of people. It's so freaking obvious. So what can we do? I mean, because they're going to try the false flag thing. That's the next video. Oh, did you guys see that one of the mainstream articles came out and they literally said in the headline, no, the U.S. Nimitz is not going to get attacked in a false flag attack.
Right.
Like, what? Well, why do you say that? Like, because that's where everybody's mind is at right now. So how can they get away with this shit when everybody's like staring at them? Are they just going to do it anyways? Are they that effing brazen?
As soon as they deployed the USS Nimitz, internet sleuths started doing what they do, and we all found out within 12 hours that the USS Nimitz is about to be decommissioned in like a year or less or something like that. And it's going into a hot zone like this. They sent another one in today. They're both ships that I'm familiar with and have been on at least one of the two in the past. And I think it's from about the same era. I can't remember which one it is. It might be the Gerald Ford, but I'm not sure. But yeah, in the comments, as soon as they post that, they're like, please don't let Israel USS Liberty, our ship, like all these people start piling in. And it's just like, yeah, at this point in the last year, millions, tens of millions of Americans and citizens worldwide have seen all the documentaries on the USS Liberty and listened to Candace Owens' podcast, and everybody in the comments is just like, it's just so rare. Like they can't even deploy enough bots and political Zionist shills and Hasbro agents to to get in there and make a difference at this point.
But they could, because they did it during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious about why.
Yeah, why is that happening? Where's the throttle? Where's the push? And that's why I think we have to leave a little bit of space for like, is this all theater? And it always takes me back to, I said it a billion times on the show, it takes me back to Kanye coming on with Fuentes and all those guys with the fishnet and the Yoo-hoo. Like that was when all of a sudden this conversation got opened up. And YouTube has just been letting it go. I mean, I guess thanks YouTube, but at the same time, like, why? We're curious to know why anyone who brought this up was treated like their dad was David Duke up until 2 years ago, and now it's like David Duke would blush at some of the things that 16-year-olds write on X. It's crazy.
My entire Instagram algorithm is Dolph Hottler was right, with an arrow pointing to it with like 88,000 likes on it.
I know. One of the first things I saw in my doom scroll this morning was a picture of him, and it said, "Do we owe him an apology?"
I'm talking every single video.
What the fuck is going on? No, this is really bizarre. Like, and I can't help but feel like it's on purpose. Like, oh, all of a sudden we have free speech on this issue, huh? As this is all popping off. Nothing could be wrong with that. There's nothing to be concerned about here.
Because we live in a simulation, and so they're just doing some weird routine maintenance or something.
Well, the simulation thing was wild with I guess this was the attempt at the fake flag thing with the thing that happened in Minnesota where the guy's name is Vance Bolter.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like he owns like a military contracting Red Lion group or something in the Middle East, and he happens to be the guy. And then I guess that was the attempt in the middle of the immigration riots. And then that just kind of fizzled out, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes. Let's play that in the background here because it's funny. Oh, great. My browser. I get this error in the system sometimes. It says your browser has lost connection to the audio and it disrupts my whole flow. But
What's this, Lego World War III?
yeah, Lego World War III. Isn't that cool?
Oh, this is much better than the baby AI. This makes it much more acceptable. This is cute. Yeah, this isn't Death and Destruction, Armageddon. Oh, that's awesome.
Intercontinental ballistic missiles. There you go.
The
Yeah,
explosion.
things have progressed a long way since the first Lego movie. Remember, the villain was President Business.
Yeah,
it was Bain Capital.
yeah.
Everything is awesome.
You gotta be kidding me. Oh man.
I sing that song to myself sometimes when I'm having a bad day. I'm like, everything is awesome.
When you're part of the team, it's part of such brainwashing shit. Look
Yeah,
at that. Look at that. We're just talking about Trump, like redefining, right, the meaning of America first. Look at that social post. At the clip that he posted.
Okay, yeah. Donald J. Trump on his Truth Social.
He posted a Fox News clip.
Okay.
Would say.
Oh, there's a clip on there.
But yeah, but that's okay. Read what he posted.
Okay. Donald Trump reposts Mark Thiessen, quote, Donald Trump is not an isolationist, but I think some of the Republican isolationists are suddenly discovering that they're out of touch with the MAGA movement and Donald Trump. I have total confidence in Donald Trump. This is the guy who killed Soleimani. You think he's afraid to take out Forgo? Of course not. So, yeah, it's like kind of like now. I guess it's like when the jabs first came out, and it's like, and you said I'm not into it or I have questions about it. It was like, oh, you're hesitant, before
science denier.
Yeah, you're science denier, or you started out being hesitant. Then you're a grandma killer. Like there's an escalation there, but it looks like they're trying to do something similar here, where it's like if you have questions about this or you stand against it, you're an isolationist. Like,
yeah, when did this fucking term come out?
Fuck, dude, it's so stupid. Like, who falls for this? Who uses this type of term against another person and thinks they're having a humane, ethical, sensical, logical conversation with someone?
Yeah, it's just, but like now we are the one that we're out of touch of the MAGA movement, right? And Donald Trump.
Yeah, you're out now, Pharaoh.
Now we're out of touch. Yeah, we're out of touch.
Yeah, you're out of touch. Don't you know the whole movement? Are you not aware? It says so on social media. It says so on Truth.
I know.
MAGA didn't change, Pharaoh. You changed.
Yeah.
And who watches Fox News? He's like a boomer sitting and watching TV. Fox
I
News.
love watching it. I love watching it in the background.
Really?
When I get home from work, I put it on because what's that show on at 4:00? The Will Kane show, and So this dude talks about Rogan, and he loves Rogan. He loves podcasting. So then he got like podcast microphones, but he still has a clip-on mic, and you can tell through the noise gate that it's not it just wants a podcast, and you can tell that he's on there, and he says like, oh, I want this to look like a barbecue bar. And they're like, okay. And he's like, okay. And that's it. So I like having, it's like mindless shit to put on when I get home. It makes me feel like I didn't, like back in the early 2000s when I was pro Iraq war right after 2001, and I didn't have to worry about anything and everything was just much easier, now it's, I mean,
Fox News was amusing when Obama was president. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, remember when Glenn Beck had a show? Glenn Beck had a show, and he would just copy Alex's show from earlier in the day and then put it on, but cry.
Yep.
When John Bolton was a regular guest on Red Eye with Greg Gutfeld and not some psychopathic lunatic who's leading the charge alongside these other psychopathic lunatics.
John Bolton was on Red Eye with Nick Mullen. John Bolton was on with Nick Mullen, and Nick Mullen was the political strategic expert, and John Bolton was the comedy relief. They always do that.
Actually,
they
I
ask the
think
comedian the serious take.
everything went to shit with Fox News as soon as they canceled Red Eye. I noticed that. So that was the last show that I was clinging on to personally. But that was a decent show. They did a good job on that one. And the new Gutfeld thing is not even close.
I'll say it. It's a Boiler Room ripoff, and no one on it is funny. And I find it very interesting that back when a lot of us here started podcasting, before it was even called podcasting, we got laughed at. We got told no one's going to listen to that. And now we've got D-bags like that on Fox News trying to figure out how to maintain an audience by looking more like what we've been doing for the last decade. So shout out to all the old schoolers out there. Told them this would happen.
And fuck all the biters. Oh,
yeah, seriously. Told them this. They couldn't have happened to a more fucked up sleazy felines than the mass media cartel. How about that? You deserve the loss.
By gold.
By gold.
G. Gordon Liddy just doing commercials every day for Roslyn Capital.
Megan Kelly always transitions into it in her little short clips.
I'm William Devane. Yeah.
Speaking of selling shit, you guys saw the new Trump phone?
What, you joking?
No.
No, dead serious.
I don't want a Trump phone.
Dude, they made it like a new wireless network. A new Trump.
Did they come out with it on Juneteenth? They came out with it on Juneteenth to cancel out the Obama phone.
Yeah, probably. Obama.
It's legit, and the monthly service is cheaper than my pay as I go phone. I'm like, oh shit, I need to get a Trump phone.
Well, Palantir's listening.
Mobile.
Either way, Palantir's listening, so go with whatever's cheapest, man.
Here, I post the link for it, Asher. Trump.com.
Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me, dude. Do you buy it with Trump meme coins or
mobile is spelled MOBIL like Exxon Mobil.
All right, for anyone who thinks that our legs are being pulled here, this is at Trump.com. Trump Mobile launches a bold new wireless service for Americans.
Oh, Baze has to read the announcement in the voice.
I'm incredibly excited to step into this new digital space. Hardworking Americans deserve a wireless service that's affordable, reflects their values, and delivers reliable quality that they can count on. They can count on it, folks. We're especially proud to offer free long-distance calling to our military members. We love our military and their families. We love families. Somebody told me, do we love families? That's what I said. We love families because those serving overseas should always be able to stay connected to the people they love back home. That's where we are. Back home. It's the homeland.
And unfortunately now I'm just seeing that the quote is by Eric Trump.
Oh, yeah. Whatever.
Scroll down.
Wow, that sounds just like him. Yeah.
Whatever.
Scroll down. Yeah, so they have the flagship plan is called the 47 plan.
47.45 a month. Okay.
Which is available for 47.45 per month.
There's Taco Don's quote.
I get it. Oh, they're so crafty, so smart, so cute. It's gonna sell like pancakes.
I don't know, man. They are like getting into buying coin. Like I have a feeling that the Trump family is like making much more money out of this than first time.
I know.
Like, they launch Bitcoins. They are like buying this massive amount of like Bitcoins. They have Truth Social. Now they are launching the mobile service. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah. He's like
DeFi lending and crypto too, I think now.
Yeah. I don't know. It just feels off.
He's like, I don't need that paycheck. I'll be the only U.S. president to not take that measly $700,000 a year paycheck because I'm going to launch Trump Mobile and some meme coins. Fuck off.
Well, I mean, at least he's doing it like out in public, right? It's not like Obama that's now worth $100 million, like God knows how, right?
Or Burisma.
Oh, yeah, right. So I understand, but it still like feels just off.
Yeah, a little too idiocracy. A little too idiocracy for me. Someone please slow the simulation down. Could we Can we please not do Blade Runner anytime soon?
Hey, I just covered Blade Runner.
I saw that, man.
Yeah, thanks for the plug. Yes.
Throw it in there, dude. Give it the full press.
Yeah. Hey, guys, if you want to discover Blade Runner 2049 and a deep analysis dealing especially with the actual book, which is Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, then go over to my channel, Baseline Analyzer at YouTube. And by the way, guess what Rick Deckard's wife's name is in the book?
Trump.
Iran.
Okay.
Yes. There is. I'm also covering C.S. Lewis, and one of the main characters in Prince Caspian is a dwarf named Trumpkin.
No way. I forgot about
Yes.
that.
Yeah. So I'm covering both of those, and it is pretty crazy. The book is highly relevant. You guys were just talking about Palantir. Of course, we get into the major technocratic and transhumanist aspects of a dystopian Blade Runner, but it really is also about it. It's a kind of a bleak garbage world full of what's called kipple, where people really question, are there even people? The androids are supposed to be more human than human, but are there even people left? And there's a huge difference between the books and the film, and I would really recommend the book. So check that out.
Don't give away too much. He covers it all in that stream, folks. It's a good one.
Yep, definitely. All right. Let's see here. Oh, shout out to Mela also. Mela had episode 3 yesterday, I believe. So go check that out. A lot of good stuff going on the streams between us and all our friends and colleagues out there. No shortage of cool stuff for y'all to watch.
Before I forget, before we wind up moving too far away from the Iran thing, there is one other new piece to the puzzle. The CIA thing. Did you hear about that? The hacker, the former CIA hacker, warning that the United States will likely face a massive cyber attack from Iran within the next 30 days.
Okay.
A reverse Stuxnet.
So,
okay.
Yeah, that was brand new breaking news today. That's part of the new boo. So I always got to be on the edge. And as this one Just a Thought, who I brought up before on Boiler Room on X, Just a Thought. It's E_GALV is the user's name. They pointed out that if the CIA ran a false flag cyber attack on the United States, it would be far more disastrous than a repeat of 9/11. It would render everyone in the country helpless with no access to their money, no ability to communicate, and no electricity, which is why I think they'll do it. I agree, unfortunately. So if they are going to do a false flag in order to try to get everybody on board, what's the one thing that could probably cause the most amount of damage? Well, there is that cyber pandemic thing that they promised us, right? Cyber Polygon. Is that what it was called?
Yep.
Yep.
Wow. So hold on to your butts, everybody.
These cyber
and that is something that will obviously seriously impact all of us, including this program right here. So, poof. No more Boiler Room for a little while, I guess.
No internet. We're gonna have some idle hands, man. We're gonna be loading magazines.
What would we be doing with those idle hands, Hesher? I wonder.
Starlink will work.
Dude, we saw. I might have mentioned this previous show. We just saw another launch of Starlink right over our house, not but a week ago. 20 satellites, all perfectly spaced out next to each other, going up into orbit. It's crazy. It's probably the third or fourth time we've seen it on the ground here in Texas.
Well,
next time, text me.
It's the most resilient solution, though, in case of great failure. So,
I want to know what's on them. I have a hard time believing it's all just cellular communication stuff. Why? What opportunist in the technocrat circle, in the government circles, in the military circles, would not use those satellites to piggyback just any kind of equipment that they need up there? Are we really to believe every time I see this and all the ones I don't see, every time 20 of those things goes up there in a batch, that it's all just for our Netflix and our SMS messages and shit? I'm not buying it.
Painting my roof blue tonight,
dude. One of our neighbors got a metal roof put on, man. I was like, oh, snap. You should paint that blue. Okay.
So can we go to that link about
Which one? Your newest one down there?
No, if you go up, it's a
What's
little
the-
funny, but I think let's hit it because I was talking about illegals. So in Florida,
Oh, I got
Florida
it.
offers.
I got it right here. Okay. Let's see here. Florida offers Trump alligator Alcatraz to detain illegal immigrants. Dude, this almost sounds like a icebreaker material. What is this? Illegal immigrants could soon be held in a massive new immigration detention center in Florida, which has been dubbed the Alligator Alcatraz, a 39 square mile plot of land which is surrounded by alligators and pythons. All right.
No sharks?
I was gonna think that. I think we need to do one with sharks.
Dude,
Oh yeah.
we need a moat. We need a moat and then a large plot of land covered in alligators and large pythons.
Yeah.
You know, this only makes sense that we're doing it this way because like we're ending where we should have began, and that kind of feels the way it is with this whole Iran-Israel issue, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, we need to take our politicians and put them in alligator Alcatraz.
So here's another thing that he come out today and he say, and I want to hear everybody's thoughts about it. The link right above it.
That would be this one.
25 million. Yeah.
All right, you want me to play the video or read it?
Well, you can just read it. So basically, what it is he came out today and basically they, in the big beautiful bill, they want to sell 250 million acres of public land in the West for development of housing.
To foreign entities too, probably.
Probably it's gonna be sold to BlackRock, right?
Yeah. So the largest sale of national public land in modern history could be carried out as part of President Donald Trump's budget bill to help pay for his sweeping tax cuts. Interesting. You could have just not raised the DoD budget, I suppose, but no.
I know, or help Israel, right?
Yeah, or stop providing all this foreign aid. Okay, whatever. However, a professor who's an expert on the climate policy questioned the efficacy of the proposals, telling Newsweek that selling off public land will not reduce federal spending to any significant degree. I'm not an expert, but I would agree with that. That would be my first concern. Like, what is this actually doing for us? They've already kicked people. They've already abused American citizens' rights to public lands for decades now, using BLM and USFS and other agencies. Now they just want to sell it off. That's pretty stupid.
And no stipulation, no way to prevent one entity from purchasing all of it at once.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you can see a lot of it is in really will be in the pristine land, right? So you want to sell it in Utah, Colorado, and I don't know, man. That does not give me a good feeling.
For
They're
what
gonna
though?
auction it off for you have to pay for that.
And then
with
what
the
comes
Trump
out of it is
meme
like
coin.
$8 billion. I'm like, what is that? That's like, that's a fart. Like
just-
in the
they
U.S.
just-
budget. Like
They just printed 7 trillion in 2020. What are you talking about? 8 billion? That's nothing. You're right. That is a fart.
and yeah, but here you are. So they're just gonna go around and just. Like, are we really in shortage of areas to build on that they have to sell 250 million
No.
acres?
We could all live in Texas. Texas is big enough for like the whole world, probably. Listen to this part. The legislation mandates that the Bureau of Land Management and the U.S. Forest Service sell more than 2 million acres over the next 5 years, with a total of 258 million acres now legally available for potential sale.
Oh, it'll be sold to corporations so that when they find the mineral rights and the oil on it, then they can get
Yeah,
contracts.
absolutely. That's what it is.
Yeah, they're looking for
Exactly what it
rare
is.
earth minerals and shit. That's disgusting.
It's just they're gonna fucking destroy. They're really trying to turn it into fucking third world country. That's what it is.
That is disgusting,
The
man.
good news is if it's BlackRock, what they'll do is they'll take all this land and this development and whatever they did with it. They're going to tokenize it and put it on the blockchain. And then if you are lucky enough and you give your digital ID up with your best in it. So, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, great. All right, let me lightning a couple things at you guys here. Just some highlights from the discussion that we had on the Digital Minefield channel night before last. Just go check that out for a detailed run through. But you may have seen, I think we might have covered it on this show, the footage of the Palestinian protester at the tech conference thing where CEO of Palantir, Alex Karp, was speaking, and she was telling him, "Hey, your Palantir tools are being used to murder people in my homeland and my family members," and she got thrown out. Well, after that, a Palantir exec went on Fox News and declared that the pro-Palestinian protesters and what is it, Act Pink or whatever that group is, the activist group, Code Pink, thank you, should be classified as domestic terrorists. So if you question Palantir, we're already at a point now in the timeline where their executives will go on Fox, and Fox will platform them to petition the U.S. government to designate people as terrorists. All right, so it's serious business. Also, Mystical Pharaoh, this one's for you. There you go. There's a shot from the Army Parade, sponsored by Palantir, one of the many sponsors, Palantir. There it is. What's to say about that? And what else do we got? I got Palantir stuff coming out my yin yang. Most of it was noted in Maddie's show over there at Digital Minefield, so do check it out. But man, there were some crazy clips that we played on that show, and I really hope more people go and watch it. We'll probably we will continue to cover this topic here at the Boiler Room. Here's another one I wanted to share with you guys. This one I thought was rather important. U.S. Army, this is out of datacenterdynamics.com. U.S. Army Reserve swears in tech leaders from Palantir, Meta, OpenAI, and Thinking Machines. This just came out 2 days ago by Sebastian Moss. And so they're taking tech dudes, tech bros, and they are enlisting them in the military, immediately assigning them a rank of lieutenant colonel. So the new lieutenant colonels are Shyam Sankar, the CTO of Palantir, the chief technology officer of Palantir, is now a lieutenant colonel in the Army. Andrew Bosworth, CTO, again, chief technology officer of Meta, now a lieutenant colonel in the Army. Is this how we celebrate 250 years of the United States Army, by taking tech bro, nerd, Burning Man guys, commies and authoritarians, and granting them in their 40s, 50s, 60s in some cases a rank of lieutenant colonel? You got to be kidding me. Why is that? Let's ask ourselves why that is. Also, Kevin Wheel, chief product officer of OpenAI, and Bob McGrew, advisor at Thinking Machines Lab and former chief research officer of OpenAI. Those guys have all been granted the rank of lieutenant colonel, all right, in the U.S. Army Reserves. I'll just leave it at that. You guys may have some comments about it, but I think that says so much about where we're going and why we can kiss conventional warfare goodbye potentially.
I actually have no comments on it. It's just idiotic.
I mean, yeah.
Can't make it up, right?
I left Pharaoh speechless.
Well, it just, when you go and talk to other armies that actually real generals and colonels that's actually been in warfare, right? and now you're getting titles. What is this crap?
Yeah.
Can we
Good.
get big balls in there?
Can big balls get
Yeah,
in
can
and
big balls be a cardinal?
fix this?
We make him a general big balls.
Can we promote this guy straight to general? Oh my gosh. And there's so many good clips. We played so many good clips on Maddie's show the other night, so I'll just link that in the show notes, and we'll go around the room. We've been here 2 hours, you guys. I don't want to hold you too long. So, Mystical Pharaoh, go to you first, man. Saved rounds, final thoughts, anything you want to throw in the boiler room before we shut it down?
No, I think we touched on at least the important stuff. I'm trying to I'm so disappointed, because I was hopeful, right? And I thought that actually that presidency, he actually learned some stuff, and we actually has a chance being inside to fight this time. But I'm actually, it's almost feels like the people that they were saying they let him win for a reason, right? That actually were true. That they actually, after this incident in Butler, right? He made a deal with the devil or something, and that's why they let him in. Who knows? Maybe they were right and I was wrong. But right now I'm just very disappointed, sadly, and but there is nothing to be done about it. So I just pray that our nation can survive, and we just, I guess, us as people be strong enough to stick good together, and whatever hard times that we're going to face because of the idiots in Washington D.C., that we actually can go through together. So that's all what I can hope for.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're seems as though we're in a battle of some sort of information attrition right now, and it's reaching some sort of apex. So that means something. Hopefully it means something good. And we're really glad you're able to be here with us tonight, man. We share your disappointment and also your hope. Appreciate you being here, buddy.
Thanks, man.
All right, there goes the Mystical Pharaoh. Ruckus, over to you. Saved rounds, final thoughts, anything you want to throw out there in the boiler room before we shut it down?
Breaking news, we have another bad neocon take brought to my attention by Jay Dyer on X.
Yeah, I had that in my stack too.
According to the New York Post, as posted by Jordan B. Peterson, rogue states Russia and Iran are attempting to destroy the MAGA movement with disinformation bot army. So speaking of ending where we began, Hesher, yet again, we are all nothing but Russian bots.
This 2018.
Man,
is this 2018?
This really pisses me off because the Twitter account that I've been using since as long as I've been Ruckus was one that I adopted from somebody else. But ever since I did, and or before probably, that account was considered a bot account. It was labeled as a Russian bot. A lot of my friends and colleagues were labeled as actual Russian bots. It was part of that Hamilton 88 or whatever it was called, right? 90, the dashboard or whatever it was, right? Y'all are familiar with that. And so I made my own new, from the ground up, organic for the past, 5-6 years now, my own Twitter account. And yet again, here I am going to be a fucking Russian bot.
Yeah.
That sucks. But I'd rather be a Russian bot than a pile of smoking ash because we got nuked or something. So all that being said, it's been a blast, gentlemen. No pun intended. May God bless each and every one of you. May God save the entire world. Ruckus out.
All right. Well, Moscow's nice this time of year, Ruckus. So, don't worry about it too much. We got to fall back, apparently. I don't want to go through being a Russian bot again. It makes me feel like I'm back in 2018. Taking steps backward there. Based. All right. Take us out of here. Over to you. Saved rounds, final thoughts. Based, Analyzer, thanks for being here with us tonight.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me here again. Thanks for all the Boiler Room crew welcoming me in here. And it's good to be here with you guys, especially on this hot summer. Maybe that's the next step. That's the next logical step. We had the Cold War. We had the war on terror. We had the war on the self. And now maybe we're going into hot war. That seems to be a logical extension of it. I hope not. It was really, really awesome to see you the other night on my buddy Matty at Digital Minefield, Real Cooter Brown, on his channel the other night. That was so sick. It was a really good stream. Hope to see you on there again more. Hey guys, please check me out at Baselit Analyzer at YouTube. Again, I'll be on John Here's His channel coming up. I got a couple other things coming up. Next week, I'm planning to be away for the whole week in the mountains. Seems like an opportune time to do that, but I'll be in the mountains, totally out of reach, working on a screenplay that I'm trying to get written and made. Hopefully that would be great. With God's grace, maybe such things will happen. In the meantime, check me out. Check out my Blade Runner and PKD analyses and my C.S. Lewis series on Narnia and all things C.S. Lewis, which I'm going to be continuing for a while. And I'll just say this, that, we went through this in 2020 and we're going through it again now, that it's important to have physical media and physical literature. I think that, we saw this in 2020 when, just for a few days, all the music streaming services were gone and, movies were gone for a little bit. And if there's a cyber polygon or something like that, if that were to happen, it's important to kind of stockpile these things. We stockpile other things, but it's also important to have real physical books and to read books. And if there's one book that I could recommend right now, it would be really anything by C.S. Lewis. I'm really into C.S. Lewis and his takes on things, including his take on nuclear war. And I'll just end with this. C.S. Lewis's take on nuclear war was, remember, C.S. Lewis died the same day as John F. Kennedy. So his death kind of went unnoticed at the time. But he said that if we're going to pass away in nuclear war, let us be doing things, human things, like praying and playing with our children and eating dinner with our family and working on our land and doing normal things instead of cowering in the darkness. So I think that's a good way to leave us. And thanks, Hesher. Really appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Peace.
All right. That's Baselit Analyzer, everybody. Thanks for everything you do, buddy. And we'll link to you on the description and on the show page, which will be available at alternatecurrentradio.com. We're out of here. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Let's try to stay sane, everybody, to keep each other sane and be ready, because we don't know where this is all headed. It's looking a little choppy out there. So we'll be back with you for Sunday Wire this coming Sunday. Myself and Ruckus and Patrick Henningsen. And don't be surprised if he brings a really cool guest. Also, who knows? Maybe you'll even see Basil Valentine. We do need your support. We have a support link up at alternatecurrentradio.com, and support links are in the description below. I'm out of here. We'll see you next time for another Boiler Room.
That's it. Go ahead and run. Run home and cry to mama.